Hey guys, welcome to the Wiseguys podcast. I am Maxim Sabricus, and with me are Paolo Feliciano
What's up, guys?
and Francis Chi.
Hello.
So yeah, in this podcast, we're pretty much gonna be talking about chill, light-hearted topics, but it can also go to some pretty serious, maybe even political topics.
As per the usual.
Yes, but I feel like this episode consists more of like chill topics. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I feel like that's what people want to listen to anyway.
Oh, guys, if you didn't know, Francis, aka the Cockster.
Dude, why you gonna call me the cockster, dude?
That's what
Re-
the ladies call it.
But anyway, basically, he pretty much likes talking about, controversial topics to get into people's nerves. Am I right or am I right, Francis?
I want to be hated, guys. Let
So,
me live my dream.
So anyway, guys, before we start the podcast, we're recording at like it's freaking 1 a.m. right now, and we were supposed to start at like what?
10 a.m.
Huh?
10 p.m. 10 p.m. I mean.
Yeah, we were supposed to start around like
I would say 9:30, dude.
yeah. Okay, anyway, ranging from freaking 9 to around 10
Basically
plus.
4 hours ago.
Yeah. Basically, we had a lot of technical difficulties. So like, if there's anything wrong with the audio or if someone's voice is phasing out, please bear with us.
Get up.
What? Dude, you gotta relax. You gotta relax. We're talking to our audience. We don't want them to hate us.
Yeah, dude, chill the fuck out.
I'm sorry.
So anyway, should we start this?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so today we have around 5 to 6 topics, I would say, and the first topic is the Mac.
You gotta be
Sorry.
fucking kidding me.
Mac Miller's unfortunate death.
No.
What do you guys have to say about that?
Well,
Should I start or should you?
I think you should start, sir.
Dude, okay, dude, I only have one thing to say about it. Okay, like R.I.P. You know, like okay, he passed away, but what's with all these motherfuckers blaming Ariana Grande for his death, dude? Like, what is this shit? Why would you blame someone for breaking up with someone and trying to get out of a toxic relationship, and the person who they broke up with kills themselves, and you blame them for escaping said toxic relationship? What is this shit? You know, like what the fuck? Oh, too many curse words. My bad.
Well, that's true. We shouldn't be blaming people, for doing what they felt like was right. But there's something interesting about that relationship because she got engaged like a month after. I'm not saying like that. Like, this is just like gossip,
Oh
Like,
no, that's true. But then you also have to understand the part where he really was like going down a deep circle of like drugs and like substance abuse, and she was trying to help him for a really long time. It just didn't work out. So as any human being would do, at the point where you can no longer help, you just kind of like bounce, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
You gotta get out of there. I mean, if
Otherwise,
it's-
it ruins your life
yeah,
as well.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're close friends, you gotta. I mean, you gotta still look out for yourself also.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, in my point of view, rest in peace, Mac Miller. I just want to say that it's not Ariana Grande's responsibility at all. Or like, if we talk about it, um, we won't talk about them specifically. Like, let's just say, there are two people in a relationship, and one of them, let's say, is going through something really bad, mental illness or substance abuse. It's a blessing for them to have a partner or even a friend that would take care of them, but they should not expect anyone to like take care of them, like, I wouldn't say 24/7 but a lot, because taking care of someone that's suffering through something is like really really heavy also. Like, it can also
Mentally
take
taxing.
it can also it also takes like mental stress on the person who is taking care of
It
that
takes
person.
a toll on the person.
Yeah, it takes a
yeah.
toll on the
Yeah,
person.
It's definitely not an easy task, and we shouldn't at least we shouldn't instead incentivize, or we shouldn't encourage being dependent on other people. You know what I mean? Like we should learn, I guess, to pick ourselves up in a way, but it's
No,
also
but then
it's
okay,
also
so
hard
you,
to say that. It's also hard to
oh.
say that about those with the illness, you know, because it's so easy for us who don't really understand
Yeah.
what they're going through to say it. But I guess I'm just building on Max's point that it's not other people's responsibility to take care. That's which is why Ariana Grande shouldn't be blamed, and it's not her fault at all that this happened, this unfortunate thing happened.
Okay, I feel like I can break it down. It's kind of like it's a terrible thing that no one can help you, but it's not a terrible thing when someone gives up on helping you. You know what I mean? Like it's a bad situation when no one can help you, but you can't exactly blame a person for trying to help you to the point where they can and giving up because they feel like they can no longer take the tax it like like how it affects them as a person. So
Yeah.
like I how do we really split that up? I don't really know.
What do you mean?
Like,
What do you mean by split it up?
Like how,
Yeah, what line?
yeah, I feel like there's
where
a
are the
line, you
lines?
know, like
Yeah.
there's a. I feel like I
That's
feel like
that's a tough question to answer because I think it becomes a case to case basis when we start talking about getting into the specifics of where is the line, because the line is always different for
and
each
everyone has
yeah.
different levels of mental strength and like
Truth,
ability
truth.
to like really adapt to situations, you know. Yeah, true.
So basically, what you're saying is basically, it would depend from person to person.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm talking about taking on the caretaker role.
Yeah, because who knows if, like, it depends. It depends exactly on person to person because you don't know if the person responds better to, let's say, tough love, or are you supposed to like care for them more? Like, each person responds differently to different treatments, I guess. So in that sense, it would like that's why I say it's a case to case basis, and the lines are different uh, in each case. And I don't know if you have any ideas on where to draw the line, but I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is there like a certain guideline? Is there a certain like rule that we can play? Not really rule, but like standard. Is there a standard that you can draw from this? I think you broke it down really well, actually. That you can't really blame a person for giving up. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah,
already.
everyone has their limits. Like there are special people out there who can really withstand everything, and they don't have any limit to how much they can really take care of another person. But generally speaking, everyone has their limits. I mean, I would say myself, I could probably never do something like that. Like, you know, if someone close to me like had like say was falling down this deep pit into like say addiction, or had a mental illness that slowly degraded like their mental capacity, I wouldn't personally say that I would be able to really deal with it, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like going back to what you said, that everyone has their limit, and especially because that's not the only thing. That's not the only concern that people who assume that their caretaker role should have. Because from what I know is that I'm not sure if all, but some mental illnesses, like the caretaker can take on that mental illness. Like if you're taking care of someone with depression, it is possible that the longer you're exposed to them, slowly but surely, you're gonna end up getting depressed also. So yeah, that's one thing, I guess that's also one concern that they should I know. Yeah.
No, I guess the question is like up to where does the moral obligation lie? Like is there, if there is in fact a moral obligation as a friend, if you're helping a friend or a past boyfriend or girlfriend, like is it really your responsibility to be picking up a problematic person if that comes at the expense of your own well-being? So you're trying to help this person's well-being, but at the same time that is affecting your well-being in the process. Then that's when you have to weigh if do you have the moral obligation. And I think that's where it's debatable, is where does the moral obligation lie? And for me in this case, the same thing you said earlier.
It depends from person to
yeah,
person.
yeah,
Yeah, but here's the thing though, like you brought up a good point in saying like, when do people know they've done enough? And actually, that brings me to another point, which I don't want to go into because it's gonna be a long topic. But then the issue with the whole like moral obligation thing is that what's really driving you to help the person? When you think of the word moral obligation, there are two ways you can think about it. It's your personal morals. It's how other people perceive morals.
Yeah.
You know, like so. What's really driving you to help these people? Is it your own personal morals, or is it a fear that other people will perceive you differently because you gave up too fast? You know, like
that is a very good point.
yeah, they will. But I don't want to go into that. But it's just an interesting thing to talk about. Like, what really drives people to do good things? Is it really a good moral in themselves, or is it the fact that people will judge them for doing the wrong things? You know, it's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, that's
you know?
true. And you're right when you say that that's totally different topic. But then I would say it's a mix of both. Wouldn't you think so? I mean, I don't think there's an ultimate answer as to, because I believe that there are actually people who are goodwilled enough to help other people, you know. But there are also other people who are scared of judgment, wherein if they don't help, they're scared of how people will look at them. So I think it's, for me, it's kind of like in the middle, I guess.
Yeah, because usually people tend to oversimplify like the factors that come into play when making such a decision, like helping your friend or not helping your friend. When in fact it's a mixture. It's usually a mixture of both, like a mixture of rational thought and like whatever you're feeling towards a certain person. And I think that's what people fail to like go into or like try to understand, because they think that, oh, the most rational decision is to do this, help this person, because obviously, like, you know, this guy's depressed, he might do this, so the smartest, the most rational thing to do would be to help that person. So by not helping that person, then by default it's your fault that such a tragedy happened. But that, you know, that's not, that's fantasy, that's kind of a very idealistic way of looking at these kinds of situations, because we all know that there's much more like underneath the surface that's usually at play when, you know, there's the emotions involved, and we do things all the time that we don't really understand why we do them. Like, it's because we feel certain things. You know, people become irrational, and that's just how we are as humans.
Okay, actually, I have a theory to pitch to you guys about
The
this.
Yuri.
Yeah, okay, like a legit theory to pitch to you guys about this. Think about it this way, because if you think about it in a sense where shame is what drives you, you know, like you're scared to be shamed by the people around you. Isn't that more of an instinctual thing? So basically, a person younger in life would think that way. But then as you grow older, as you grow wiser, you start to realize that like you should be doing good things for the sake of doing good things, not for the shame involved. So basically, if you think about it, being scared of being judged by people around you is more of a primal instinctual thing, whereas making good decisions just for the sake of them being good decisions is more of the idealistic, wiser end that we all kind of aim to be, you know? So it's basically like the start of life to the end of life, you know? Like at the start, what's really driving you is that instinctual, primal thing, whereas at the end, you start to realize, nah, these good things should be done just for the sake of them being good.
True, and yeah, I agree with you. So that's why I'm actually, I mean, I'm actually, I would say bittersweet about the fact that adolescents or even people who are younger than adolescents are exposed to social media. I would call it bittersweet because nowadays there's actually a lot of mental awareness going around, and it's actually getting promoted pretty well, especially compared to before. And but I would say bittersweet because, you know, there are a lot of crazy stuff on social media. I think we can agree on that, right? So yeah, I think on the mental awareness part, we are doing. I mean, we are improving, and hopefully we do better in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, because we're still trying to we're still trying to figure things out, because, you know, for the first time in the history of the world, information is freely available to everyone. Like, it's like we're in a new place. We're in a different time where it's more, we're more free now more than ever, and though that is a good thing. Of course, it comes with consequences. It comes with um, there are certain things that, you know, there's a price for the freedom that we
Mm.
have,
That's true.
and we're definitely seeing it now. In I mean, you see what's going on in this political landscape, the cultural landscape. There, it's not what we thought it would be. That, you know what I mean? Like,
The-
I'm sure we were
yeah.
all taken by surprise of how intense sometimes it can get.
Yeah,
how
I was fucking
draining.
surprised by the hashtag
yeah.
woke people, dude. For the love of
It's
God.
crazy.
Hashtag woke.
It's a freaking jungle out there,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't think
Whoa,
anybody
whoa.
expected it to be like that.
Bro.
That's true. Well, anyway, Chi, do you have anything else to say?
Dude, all I'm gonna say is we went on a long ass tangent, and I have no idea where we started, dude.
Dude, okay,
Where?
I'll
what
remind
topic?
you. The first thing we talked about is I have no idea. Oh wait, no, I'm just kidding. we were talking about Ariana Grande. Like
okay.
Ariana Grande getting so much hate
Yeah.
for, you know, basically people were blaming her for causing the substance abuse death of Mac Miller.
All right, so Pao, what do you think about these people blaming Ariana Grande?
I think that because of what they've been advocating, like, you know, like what you said is, are we motivated by showing that we have a sense of compassion to others,
Mm.
or by actually feeling that compassion and trying to trying to actually make it trying to actually make a difference, you know, the do something that matters, or do we just want to show people? And I think that's what we're seeing here, is that because of these ideas, is that you're kind of forced into this corner where you have to do it that way, or else you'll be rejected by the rest of your community.
Okay,
You'll be alienated by your community to some degree if you show that you're not like a person with compassion, or what virtue, or whatever it is that they. For me, I don't think it's genuine, because you're doing it for the sake of other people, not for yourself. But that's just my opinion.
How about you, Goy?
So, if you agree with me, you're basically saying, nah, all these people blaming Ariana Grande are at a point in their lives where they're relatively immature in terms of morality, right? Like, basically, all they're thinking about is like, you know, how it would look to others, you know. So that's basically what you're saying. Like, these people are immature, and they're fucking insane.
Yeah, and there's definitely a pack mentality thing going on over
Yeah,
there.
Okay.
So yeah,
So fucking insane. Okay.
yeah. For me, like,
Glad we
Um,
agree on that.
for me, like,
I don't think by choice though. I don't like not necessarily that they're just, you know, a little slow, because I don't think that's the case. I think it's just in the environment that we're growing up in this environment that information flows freely, and you know, fake news is rampant, and you know, there's a lot of things going on that wasn't going on before. There's a lot of things that we weren't able to anticipate. And so there are a lot of side effects that we're seeing now, and we're still learning how to deal with it as like society as a whole, is what I think is going on.
so what would you say, to all those people out there who would basically say that Ariana Grande caused Mac Miller's substance abuse death? Or how about you, Chi? Do you have anything to say to those people?
Dude,
Any of you guys?
I've been saying it again and again. Those people are fucking insane, dude.
Well, I would say that those people are the problem. They think they're part of a solution to some wider problem, but they're not. They're just causing more problems.
I feel
And-
like Paulo is my like political correctness translator, dude. You know.
You're sugarcoater.
Yeah, dude, they're sugarcoated.
You basically like you see Key and Peele.
Yeah, dude, that one.
The,
Yeah,
the guy who would talk
yeah.
for
Yeah.
who was that? Obama.
It's like I'm like going like, yeah, these people are insane, and Paulo goes, yeah, they're the problem. Like, can you see the difference?
He
there?
like expounds on what you have to say.
Yeah, dude.
So basically, yeah, guys, stop freaking hating on Ariana Grande for For basically what you said about causing Mac Miller's death, but which I totally do not agree on, and I think Francis and Paolo agree with me on this. So yeah, I guess it's time for topic number 2. And topic number 2 would be, oh, this one is pretty interesting. I actually like this one. Guys, Francis actually gave this one, which is kind of surprising
That's kind of rude.
because, she's a very manhid person.
Says the person who's never gonna get married.
Hey. Don't pass the baton to me, man.
Excuse me?
The whole priest thing started with you in high school. Okay, so topic number 2. What do you guys think about in-barkada dating? Or dating within your barkada? So I will give the freaking first say to Francis since he's the one that brought this up.
Okay,
So go.
I can actually go from beginning to end of this topic, okay? So I have no problem with dating within one's barkada because there's really no issue with it, you're friends, you guys know each other, what's the problem with that? You guys really know each other to the core by that point because you're in the same barkada. Like you know what you're like when you're just awake, like when you just woke up, you know what you're like when you're about to sleep. Like it really it's the perfect how do I say it? It's the perfect environment for dating to actually happen. Now the problem starts when it doesn't work out. Because the times it does work out, then hell yeah, diba? Like someone's getting married in your barkada or something. That's the greatest thing that could happen. And like you guys will all go to the wedding together, blah 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 blah. It's gonna be loads of fun. But if it doesn't work out, that's when the issue starts. You see time and time again. Now when it doesn't work out, the barkada always splits. Maybe not no, okay, not always. That's kind of an exaggeration, but most of the time, diba? There's always a crack in the barkada because everyone takes sides. And what is the reason why people take sides? Because these people who started dating in the first place cannot be mature enough to set aside their personal differences for the sake of the barkada to stay together. And that forces people to take sides. And because of people taking sides, the barkada splits up. Now, I would say that this didn't happen in my barkada. But I would say it's happened to the people I know. It's happened to their barkadas. And it's happened to someone really close to me actually. Now he basically got walled off. Yeah, like he got exiled from his barkada. He no longer meets with them on a regular basis. Like he no longer meets with them at all actually. Because they all took his ex-girlfriend side. And for me that's really a sign of like severe immaturity actually. Like you're forcing people to take sides for you. Like okay, if you're younger that's understandable, but if you're older than me and that's happening to you, what the fuck are you doing, You get what I mean? Like isn't the happiness of all the people around you like important as well? Like I don't see how there's any maturity in you forcing people to take sides. I don't know, that's just me personally. You guys could have a different idea though.
I mean, I totally agree with you. Like, if we're just talking about dating, right? And then they're in the same barkada. They dated, they break up, and let's just say it was a clean breakup. Then for sure, for me, like if there was nothing bastos that happened, then for sure it's totally fine. That I mean, not just totally fine, but they should still be able to function in the same barkada. And even though, let's say like something bad or bastos happened, I mean, yeah, something bad or bastos happened in your relationship, na like the person in the relationship feels na like, man, I really can't take this. I really can't like hang with this person anymore. I feel like you have your time to basically like put space. Like after a breakup, you can put space. For me, you can put space. But then let's say like 6 months go by, or like even just like 4 months go by. I think that's the time na if you still can't see them, or like if you're still not comfortable with seeing them because you're still butthurt over what happened, I feel like you should look at yourself, I feel like you're holding too much of a grudge. Or do you agree with me or no?
Actually, wait, I have a caveat to add, like just a small note. Like,
No.
okay,
I'm just kidding.
okay. my note would be if you guys broke up cleanly, but obviously if something bad happened, like say you guys are in a barkada and like someone like beats up the other side, obviously you fucking take sides, guys. You know, I'm just saying, you take fucking sides. But if you guys broke up cleanly, if it was just like a a minor issue and you guys broke up, then yeah, dude, like fucking deal with it and fucking keep the barkada together. It's kind of rude to ruin like a bunch of other people's happiness just because you feel like being kind of immature, you know. All right. Anything to say, Paul?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm actually a fan. Like I prefer like friends first, like before you get into a relationship. Like that's just like my personal preference. Cause like you said, like you already know the person, like you already understand their tendencies.
Yeah, it's the
And,
perfect
like
climate,
yeah,
diba?
it increases the chances of it working out. And I guess for me, is the big thing in Barkada dating is that there's always gonna be that like level of risk. There's always like a certain risk that you're gonna ruin the friendship that you had with this person, because that's the leap that you're taking, right? Like when you start dating a person in your barkada, then you're basically making that leap that it's probably gonna work out. Like it's probably gonna become like you guys, or maybe if you're just like trying out and like it's a fast breakup, that's different. But if you're talking about like getting really serious with like somebody, one of your close friends, then for me, I actually prefer that. But I think the problem is a lot of times like people just kind of rush into it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's the thing that's the thing I'm talking about. I don't want that risk to be there. I don't want when people start dating in the barkada, generally the consensus is the general consensus of the rest of the barkada to be like, hell yeah, go for it. Is there no one else in the barkada thinking, I don't think you should go for it, because if you date in the barkada and you break up, our barkada just kind of dissolves, right? Like there are people in the barkada who think that way, because it's true, it happens.
yeah, but
And
that's the thing. That's also case to case. It
Yeah, but
depends
then-
on the people, and it depends on the people involved. Like when like something's a little more genuine than what, like you can kind of feel it, like as friends maybe, like especially if
then-
it's between your friends.
My point is my point is I don't want people to think that way. Why should that risk be there? Like if that risk, like the only time that risk should be there is if the breakup happened because of something completely unforgivable. Like for example, nangulata ang laki or something.
Oh,
Like that's the only time. But then for a regular breakup, for a breakup that happened because of nothing.
no, I think you misunderstand. What I was trying to say was, once you decide to get into that relationship, then you're basically agreeing to take on that risk. They're agreeing that, okay, I'm gonna try this relationship with this person, my friend, who's also part of the barkada. But if this, for some reason, doesn't work out, there's a chance that you're gonna ruin the friendship that you have, and that's something that you have to take into consideration
No, but then-
before you jump into the relationship in the first place.
But then my argument wasn't you're ruining the friendship between you and the other person. My argument was that what ends up happening is the entire barkada breaks up because of that. What ends up happening is people take sides. I don't give a fuck if you are no longer friends with your special other. But once you guys break up, you set that shit aside. You do not force people to take sides. You do not ruin your group of friends just for the sake of your own personal, like, short-lived, like, self-satisfaction,
Yeah.
You don't do that.
You're right. Which is why I said it's important that you take it into consideration beforehand, that you understand that doing such a thing, deciding to date your friend, incurs such risk upon yourself that when you break up, you might not be necessarily in good terms with the person, with, let's say, your girlfriend or your boyfriend.
Yeah, but we agree on that point. Now, you never involve the people around you, diba?
No, I think
What people, because it's usually, your thinking usually only goes up until there. That like, okay, if we break up, okay, we might not be in good terms with this person, and that's where it stops. But what people usually forget is that once you're not in good terms with one of the people in your barkada, that affects the whole dynamic
No, but
between
then
you and your friends.
here's the thing. The reason why that happens is because what ends up happening, like this happens time and time again. Now, when people just break up, it's understandable for a few months they don't want to see each other. But then I've seen like so many times, no, no, even after like a year, they're like, oh, I don't want to go because he's going. And that kind of response is what breaks a group of friends up. Because they can no longer hang out together. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they basically have to sneak around to hang out with one side and then sneak around to hang out with the other side.
Yeah.
Which I find really screwed up because you're basically ruining the friends of, like, for example, if you're a group of maybe like 10, you're basically ruining a group of 8 people just because of the personal feelings of 2. And it's not even serious personal feelings. It's kind of
Grabe, not serious.
Well, you wouldn't know if it's serious or
dude,
not.
a year
I wouldn't
after,
say,
bruh.
well, I wouldn't like say directly that it was, maybe it was serious. Maybe it just didn't work
Yo,
out.
speaking from experience here, pal.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, I thought we were talking about topics here, not like personal.
Sorry, my bad.
Basically, I agree with both of you, and just putting both of what you said together, it is definitely horrible when something like that happens. But also agreeing with Paolo, wherein when you're in a barkada, let's say we're in a barkada, and you want to date one of your friends in the barkada, you should take into consideration that you might not get married. Like, you're gonna break up
that's true.
maybe sooner or later, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't. It's not something you would hope for, but it's definitely something you would think about. And I think before you start with the relationship, you should be able to think about if you break up, like, what would happen? Are you gonna be okay with it?
See, that's why I felt like me and Paolo had a misunderstanding there, because I agree with this point. Now, you're accepting the risk that you will probably no longer be friends with this one person. I'm not talking about the rest of the group. I'm talking about one person.
Yeah.
I think that's where we had the
No,
misunderstanding.
that's
diba?
why I pointed out
Oh.
that usually you don't stop to think about what not being friends with that person would mean to the whole group. That means not hanging out together, and then sometimes when that person goes, you won't go, or
bro.
when you go, that person won't go, and
Bro, that's the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is, you as a person, after a few months at least, because a few months is generally what people need. Like, if generally if people go beyond that, it's kind of like slightly kind of on the OA side, like no offense to these people, but it really is slightly on the OA side, diba? But then, like, after a few months, you set that aside. You be the bigger person, like you start meeting this person again, and even if you guys aren't friends anymore, please be civil, just for the sake of the group.
yeah,
Diba?
you're right, but I think that's a harder position to push, to tell people that.
Yeah,
After-
that's why, like, that's what I'm
yeah,
trying to say. It's
it-
the more mature,
yeah,
at least
it-
for me
it's-
personally.
It's a
it
more
is.
difficult position to push, rather than to encourage people to really think about the consequences.
Oh, bro,
before.
shouldn't you be forced to take the difficult decision, considering you took the gamble in the first place?
Yeah,
Diba? You pay for the mistakes you made. That's really how the world's supposed to work.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, they actually go better when you put them together. Is once you accept that risk, and you have to
Yeah.
understand
Oh,
the next part of it.
Wow.
I'm a
Yeah.
fucking genius,
Yeah,
dude.
basically,
Jesus Christ. Oh,
You
sorry.
guys just like automatically concluded that topic. But wait, before we totally end that topic, I actually wanted to bring up a detour topic, which is, do you actually think that being friends first is better than just meeting up and dating first?
Fuck yeah.
For you?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
How about you, pal?
I would agree. I think so.
Oh, can we cut that out? Could I say hell yeah instead?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fell yeah.
No.
Okay.
Mel yeah?
Well, personally, I think personally, I think it's well because you, Francis, and you, Paolo, both have already
No,
experienced.
can I restate my point? I say
No.
again, it actually depends person to person.
Yeah,
actually.
that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna
Okay,
say.
it depends person to
But
person.
then, yeah, good thing you agreed with me because I was gonna have a disclaimer before what I said because like you and Paolo, I think have experienced that type of relationship.
Oh, but I've also experienced a type of relationship where I started out not just friends, just went straight into the relationship.
Oh yeah. But I'm
Well,
just
obviously
saying.
it didn't work out, but then
Yeah. But I'm just saying that I haven't been in that
Mm.
kind of relationship. So yeah, it's a good thing that you agree with me. So I guess yeah. So basically,
Oh, you finally win one? Oh, thank God.
shut up.
After all these years.
Shut up. So basically, I think that was concluded already about our in-Barkada dating. You should be able to freaking pay for the gamble that you made, right? So yeah, that's basically like the punchline of that of that of that topic,
Yes, suck it up, assholes. Oh, suck it up,
guys. Guys. So
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Oh, that's actually the perfect way to go for it.
yeah, that's a really good way
Yeah.
to go for it. So yeah, still talking about relationships. Do you guys think it's a good idea to live in with your to live in with your partner before you get married?
Well, from how I see it, to be completely honest, it's not like any of us have experience with this. But personally, how I see it, don't take my word for it, I'm not an expert. But again, like, I would say yes. It actually is a really good idea to live in with a partner because you see their tendencies, you see how they really are. You see, like I don't want to like reuse a line I used earlier, but it's the same line. You know what a person is like when they wake up all throughout until they fall asleep, and that's completely different from when you're just dating. Because when you're just dating, you're always seeing them at their best, like even like or at their worst, but at the best of their worst. You know what I mean? You're never seeing them at the worst of the worst of the worst. Whereas if you actually live in with someone, you see them to not 16 hours because you sleep for 8 hours, 16 hours a day, and then you see everything they go through, diba? So if you're actually gonna marry the person, I would say the safer option would really be to live in with someone. Although obviously we're in the Philippines, that's never gonna be accepted. But then hopefully one day it will be.
That's true. I mean, obviously we're more conservative here, but I agree. Like, well, what you're basically trying to say is you're missing the day to day, like how the person is on a daily basis, and that can be really different from when you see them on the weekends or at the nighttime when you're going out, or even when you go to their house, even if they're just chilling and you hang out. It's different when you wake up and sleep and then wake up again and then repeat that for like how many days when they're having bad days, how they act, and we're having good days. You get to know your partner more. You get to spend time together, and you get to make a more I would say informed decision.
Wait, I
Yeah.
actually have the perfect word for this: risk management. That's what this is. Risk management, dude.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Relationship risk management. That's
Yeah,
what this is.
even though you'll probably just end up getting eaten up by love and like
Whoa, whoa,
letting-
whoa, whoa.
Wow, gikaon sa gugma.
you know how it is, guy. I mean, come on. You think that you're gonna act the way that you want to act, but it usually doesn't turn out that way. Like you want to do something, but you can't do it. That's usually how it goes, because your feelings get involved, stuff like that.
No, Paulo, the love guru, right here.
Paolo
dude.
Feliciano, kinain ng pag-ibig. No, but yeah, I think in these times, especially because we live in the Philippines, this topic is, I would say, is a deciding factor for religion, because I feel like religion is what makes us conservative in this type of topic. Because, well, if an unmarried couple lives in together, it's automatically assumed that they're engaging in premarital sex, right? I mean, like, maybe automatically assumed, or like,
Pretty much assumed.
Yeah, pretty much assumed.
Pretty
Yeah.
much assumed. Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's where the deciding factor lies, especially here in the Philippines, because that's actually a pretty, from what I know, that's actually a pretty common thing to do in the West. I wouldn't, I mean, I'm not very informed on the European side of the West, but more of the American side, I think they do that. They do that more often.
Yeah, they do. I think both Europeans and Americans practice that in the West. That a lot of the times your roommates are girls, or you live in with your partners, and that happens here also, but obviously not nearly as often because there's a stigma against it. Because you're right. You're right. It's because of religion, and I don't know. I don't know what the premises of that are exactly. I guess except that it's a sin, that to engage in.
Yeah, for religion, it's definitely a sin to engage in premarital sex.
Yeah, to
I'd say.
engage in premarital sex, that's sinful. So I guess that's the stigma against it here, and that's why it's hard to. It would be a tough barrier to break. Basically.
Oh no, premarital sex, so terrible. Oh god.
Whoa.
I would never do such a thing. No, none of us ever would. You know, right?
Dude, okay, I'm just gonna stop talking. Here, pal.
Man.
Okay, so basically, guys, yeah, about the live-in before marriage. For me, I was raised in a very religious environment, but logically speaking, I would say, stop freaking laughing.
Dude, no, I'm not. I'm laughing at the TV. Go on.
Okay, guys. I mean, okay, Clay. But then, yeah, I was raised in a pretty religious setting, and I would say just logically just thinking about it, living in is definitely a good choice. Because, yeah, like what Francis said earlier, you basically witness, like, what your partner is like from the time she wakes up to the time they sleep. And it's basically like, oh, dude, okay. It's basically like you have a free trial by.
Oh my god. What does that even mean?
You have a free trial
Of
to
the wo-
marriage,
of
bro.
Marriage? Yeah, okay.
That's true. It's like one
It's like
of
the
those
fucking,
30-day
it's like the
free
fucking
trials.
Kaspersky 30-day free trial that you use every now and then.
Yeah, by and add like a couple of dollars more, and maybe you'll have a free trial with a baby too.
Oh my god. No, dude, that makes no sense. If you add a few dollars, you get condoms, and you'll never have a baby.
Yeah.
Unless the condom breaks.
All right. So our
Don't listen to him,
basically, so our
guys.
decision is yes, living in is a good idea.
Go.
But
Do
obviously-
it. Enjoy yourselves, guys.
But
let
obviously,
the
If you're not religious, if you're not religious.
no, that's not the point I was trying to make. Like, if
I don't
you're
care about the
religious,
point you're trying to make.
say,
I'm just kidding.
If you're religious, I say still go for it, dude. Like you see so many marriages fall apart because of like 3 months after you get married because they suddenly realize, wow,
Do-
the guy I've been dating for years is actually an asshole 24/7.
Do you think it incentivizes like faster people rushing into marriage though?
What?
Like living in together. Do you
No,
think
I don't think so. I think it actually slows down the marriage process because then you get to basically interview people in a sense for how they're like when you're actually married. So it actually really does slow down the marriage process in that sense because you're adding another level. Wait, it's actually adding to one of the problems that I think is happening to the world right now where people are getting married later. So, okay, I changed my stance. Living in is not a good idea. Guys, you should get married as early as possible.
What?
It's a joke.
Oh, I
I'm
did
not-
not.
that's
I did not sense your sarcasm, sir.
No, but then living in is a good idea, and yes, it will delay marriage. It really will. At least in my opinion. I don't really know.
Well, we see it practiced in the West, and maybe
And
I think
in the West, it's actually proven
Yeah.
that marriage rates are decreasing every year.
oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
people are getting married much later
Oh,
now.
But the culture is different there. That they really get married really quickly there, like seriously quickly, less than a year.
No, actually, that
of
happens.
dating even.
There's actually a whole
And-
study about that, dude. Like the reason why that happens a lot now is because people are finding their the person they settle with much later. So because they're finding them much later, they're like, oh shit, I'm getting kind of old. I gotta like tie this down while I still can, you know. So like I would say it still ties into the fact that they're getting married at a later age. So they're trying to tie whoever is still dating them at that period in time down much faster.
Well, if that's true, I think that's a good thing.
Basically,
Thank you.
in our personal opinions and slightly informed opinions would have to say that yes, you should live in before you get married, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's like you get to drive your brand new car for
Would you stop
many
with the
years?
fucking
before you decide to buy it. Imagine that. Then you'd know everything that's wrong with the engine.
Whoa, mind blown joke. Anyway.
So yeah, that basically concludes everything. You can cut out the freaking car part, maybe. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we're on to our last topic, unless anyone wants to.
Now
Just
let's
like-
see if we finish this topic and we feel like we can still go on for another one, then we'll go.
And if we do find another topic,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. If we like brain blast another
So
topic,
guys, Coke Zero.
What?
Bullshit like that.
no sugar.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay, so guys, our last topic maybe would be about Kelsey Merritt. Have you guys heard about her?
Yes, I have. She was my schoolmate, actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you went to Admo. You?
She
Have you?
wasn't my schoolmate, sadly. Was she? Was she the same year as us?
Stayed one more year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Why you gonna do me like that, man? I was about to go there myself. Oi, 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 oi.
Okay, yeah. So, guys, basically, all over social media, Kelsey Merritt has been getting so much hate for, basically representing the Philippines and identifying herself as Filipino, because like basically people have an issue that she doesn't look Filipino at all. So yeah, what do you have to say about that?
Me? These people are kind of crazy. This is me like completely censoring myself, okay? Because I really feel bad that I kind of keep cursing, and like every like 3 minutes of this podcast I curse.
No, it's okay. That's a Francis thing.
Yeah. It could be your thing.
No, that's really your thing. Like even in real life.
No, but legit, these people are crazy though. Like legit, our country has been colonized like what, twice, thrice if you count the Japanese coming over and kind of taking over for a while. So basically, our bloodlines have been mixed for like even from the time the Chinese came here to trade, and our original settlers were even from the islands of what was it, Indonesia, ba? Diba? So what actually is the Filipino look? Do we even have a look? I thought we've already gone past that point where the Filipino has a look. Like seriously, I look fucking Chinese and I'm like what, 80% Filipino or something. You know what I mean? Like basically we've gone past that point where we feel like Filipinos actually have a look, and we've accepted that Filipinos are basically just this fucking blender full of fruits that we don't know what the fuck's gonna come out at the end, diba? Like
Yeah.
that's legit what a Filipino basically is now.
Yeah, it's a
So
mix
why
of
why are
cultures.
these people judging her? These people are fucking insane. That's what they are. Accept why can't you just be happy?
Yeah, they're basically judging her for not looking morena, like having the typical Filipino morena look. And that's kind of like, I feel like a lot of the people who are agreeing with these people who are hating on Kelsey Merritt is kind of has like a pack mentality, because you've gone on Twitter nowadays, right? It's a really big thing to be for the morena look. And yeah, go.
That's why I repeat my point that these woke people,
#woke.
these woke motherfuckers are having this existential crisis right now, where basically they're claiming that you can identify as anything you want. You can be whatever you want to be, but they're saying Kelsey Merritt can't identify as Filipino. She can't represent the
And she's
Philippines,
actually Filipino.
and she's actually part Filipino. Like you're the same people who are saying you can identify as whatever you want, and you're the same people who are saying she can't represent the Philippines even if she's part Filipino. Like, do you see what you're doing here? Do you see the hypocrisy in what you're doing?
Yeah.
You know what these people are? Again, I repeat my point. They're fucking insane. That's what they are.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is like these
Insanity on
these
another level.
people are these people this what do you call them again?
What?
Woke.
These woke
Yeah.
people are getting
Oh, I
entangled.
thought you were asking me to say fucking insane. Sorry, my bad.
No, these people are getting caught in their own web that they created. This own web that they're supposed to be a certain standard that they have. That, like, for example, they say that, for example, they say that, girls can dress up however they want,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then when you see some stuff that goes wrong with this idea, then they're so quick to put the blame on something else rather than the idea itself. You know what I mean? So we see them getting entangled in their own web that people can identify as whatever they want. And now that there's an actual Filipina girl who actually is getting involved in these international things, suddenly she's not Filipina enough because that doesn't stick up for the minority, because that's the agenda that they have to push, that you always have to be for the certain minority, you have to stand up for something. And I think that goes back to our point earlier, is that what is the motivation behind their actions? Is it their own feelings that they want to help these people, or is
do
it
they want to be
yeah,
accepted?
are they driven by the forces in society that rewards you, when you're being virtuous online, when you're defending a minority, when you're even if it drives you to do something insane, which it is now doing, and we're seeing it play out in society at large. So I think that's good food for thought for anyone who just I encourage people to think more deeply about the things that they do, the things that they decide to do, because sometimes it's more than just what it seems on the surface.
So Chi, do you have anything to add to what Paolo has said?
No, actually, I actually agree. So while we're I completely agree with what you said, and actually, it kind of just adds to my point that these people are kind of crazy, diba? Like, they basically created this web where they're kind of trapped. But actually, now that we're on the topic of woke people, I actually have a topic. I was actually reading earlier. I saw this news article, right? There was people complaining about women's wear on in tennis. Why is the tennis dress still a thing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know-
Wait. When you talk about tennis dress, you're talking about the short skirts.
Yeah, the short skirts.
Okay.
I don't understand why people are complaining. These these women have the option to wear the exact same thing men do. Where's the sexism in that? They basically have more options than the men.
Mm-hmm.
You know? They have the option to wear the dress. They have the option to wear the skirt and the shirt. They have the option to wear the shorts and the shirt like all the men.
That makes sense.
And then there was, I think it was Serena Williams who wore that whole who wore some weird outfit, and she got criticized for it, right? And in the rules of tennis, you're supposed to wear something formal. I wouldn't say it has anything to do with sexism, because she really was wearing something weird. But then if any guy wore something weird as well, I'm pretty sure he would be criticized as well, because tennis really is known as a formal type of sport, diba? You really have to look presentable. So obviously, if you're wearing something weird, it's not really formal, is it, diba? So I don't really see how there's sexism in the dress wear of tennis when women basically have more options than men in that sense. It's kind of a weird thing to think about.
Wait. So is this like a detour, or how does
Yeah,
it connect to?
it's a detour.
Oh,
that's
okay,
why.
this is a
It's
detour.
like a
Okay.
tangent, you know.
Oh, okay. I thought.
It's just an interesting thing to think about, wherein like, in a sense, all these people complaining about, like, say for example, sexism. Uh, like there's certain, like, okay, yes, sexism exists, but then there's certain things they complain about that don't really make sense. And like for example, I'm gonna bring an example from racism, right? Like for example, racism. For the longest time, like one of the people who was like one of the biggest figureheads for anti-racism, who is Martin Luther King, was trying to stop segregation, right? Like was trying to stop the segregation between races. But then now you see people, like people of color, petitioning for them to be segregated away from white people. You know, it's kind of like a
it's reverse racism.
yeah, like
what we're seeing.
no, it's not even. It's not
Come again.
Martin Luther King was for the longest time trying to promote the idea that segregation shouldn't be a thing, right? Like wherein like people of his color and like white people shouldn't be separated from each other. But you see nowadays that these people of color are basically um trying to get segregation away from white people. So basically they're basically undoing all those years of work. You know? Just for the sake of, again, what Paulo said, reverse racism. It's kind of weird,
Dude,
right?
this is why you have to live in before marriage.
What?
Because
What
because
if you find out the person you're with is actually thinking like that?
no, because
Oh.
basically now the white um the white people and people of color are now married, and now the people of color are realizing that, oh shit, these white guys are not everything they said would be. Like they're kind of crazy and kind of loony and do stupid shit. Like like all
No, that's what I mean. Not separation, Tim. I think you misunderstand my point.
go
They're
go.
asking for segregation. Like they're basically saying like say for example you would have a bathroom. They're basically saying we want a bathroom for everyone, and then we want a bathroom for only ourselves.
Oh, okay.
You
I
get?
you. Okay,
Like
now I get
segregation. They're basically saying we want to be separated from these motherfuckers, which is basically what was being fought against for the longest time. Do you see how ridiculous this sounds?
it. Yeah.
Like you fought for this ideal for years, and suddenly you're like, nah, we don't want it anymore.
Yeah, there's a famous saying that the road to hell is paved on good intentions.
God damn it! Where do you get all these sayings, dude?
you, you you see a freaking like picture of Paolo reading like a book like that goes like famous quotes for dummies 101.
Every single topic we have, Paulo has this saying at the end. You know, like
There's always a saying, man. Often it's true. Is that we underestimate that when we try to change, we try to fix something that isn't broken, you usually end up making it worse. You know what I mean? And so that what I was saying is that we're seeing now, and not just like not just in in issues like racism, but in a lot of these issues, we're seeing that the people advocating for them are getting entangled in their own web, because it's a failed ideology. It's a failed mode of thinking. It's lacking. It's lacking in a sense that, let's say let's take like feminism for example. They advocate that you be free to do whatever you want with your body, whatever you please. Like you just, like you're free to run around and have sex with anybody you want. Sleep around, go girl. And then
not
Go, girl.
not by go girl uphill. Whoa.
and then when something bad happens, like let's say, I mean, there are consequences to these actions, and this is what people don't realize, is that in choosing to do, with every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Like everything you do, there are consequences for that. So let's say when you encourage girls to do that, they're more likely, like just talking common sense, they're more likely to get, let's let's say, raped or abused.
Oh, okay. Here's my point in that actually. Like I really have to interrupt you in that. Okay, wait. Rape,
Go.
abuse. Are you gonna include like what teenage pregnancy and all that on that line of thought or no?
No.
Like even in the sense where you're basically encouraging girls to be more active, you're not saying it would increase the chances of teenage pregnancy.
I think it would be a fair conclusion to draw that
No, but
it would
uh,
increase.
No, but then
Yeah, it would
my
increase the
argument to
chance.
that, like say for example for the rape and abuse thing would be, I wouldn't say it's the girl's fault in that sense.
No, I'm not saying it's the girls.
No, but then what I would say is like okay, the chances increase, but then I wouldn't say the reason for that would be um trying to get girls to be more active, because I would say, you know that saying that says, oh, I'm gonna use one of your lines against you, but then like you know that saying where it's like correlation does not imply causation.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's true.
In this case,
That
it's
is
true. It really is true. Because, like,
that
for
is true.
example, in the Philippines, like, we're a country that's a really bad example for that because we're actually, like, a very conservative country. Like, in more liberal countries, that's
Oh.
not the case, diba? Like,
No, yeah. I'm actually a lot of the things that I said just recently doesn't
applies
really,
to the Philippines, but not to the rest of the
Yeah,
world.
it doesn't
the more
really-
liberal countries, which is true. Because, like, a lot of guys really think that way, you know? Like, a lot of guys here are kind of, like, kind of cuckoo. Oh, that's really like, diba? Like it's true, but then like I would say, you know, for example, for the teenage pregnancy thing, that's a specific problem, again for the Philippines. You know why? We're anti-contraceptive because we're such a religious and conservative country, and we're all gonna go to heaven one day. You know, like that's really like the issue again. Like it's something that's a problem specifically here because of what we're like, because we're conservative, we're religious, blah 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 blah. So I would say that's kind of a wrong example to use, you know, like just for me personally.
as a general statement. Yeah, I could live with that.
Yeah, you get my point. Like, yeah, correlation does not imply causation right off the get go, you know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it should be said that it's specific to certain cultures.
Oh,
And yeah, you're exactly right. When that's exactly what I meant. That in the culture we have here in the Philippines,
Mm.
that is a lot of times the case. Because you're right, a lot of people here they think differently, you know, and I don't know why. it
very
is-
old time
Yeah,
thinking, you know.
yeah, I don't know if it's because they think in a different. I mean, we think in a different language, generally speaking. You know, do you think that plays a part at all? The language in which you think, because
I don't
it's a,
think so personally.
I think it's a powerful tool. You know, like the ways in which you interpret like what a person means.
Oh, but
A
then
lot of
my
the times, if you notice, it's simplified.
oh, but then
Oh.
my argument would be it really doesn't have anything to do with language. You know, because you can be a pure like Bisaya speaker and be liberal as hell. You can be a pure Tagalog speaker and be liberal as hell. I don't think it really has anything to do with language. It's really the culture you grew up in. It's really how conservative your family really was.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're right.
Basically, like your upbringing.
Oh, it's really your upbringing. It's not. It's really not the language, in my opinion. Like,
Though it's interesting to think about as a
Mm.
tool. I mean, because communication is really powerful, and just the fact that there are more ways to communicate certain things, like in English. Like just for me, like at least I'm more articulate in that way. You know, there are more ways to say a certain thing, and there are more ways to react, and there are more specific ways in which you can imply what you want to imply or say what you want to say. I don't think you can do that to a certain level in
I think you can do it pretty well.
with some
Bisaya, dude.
dialects. With some dialects, I think you can.
Well, I don't know. I personally just don't agree with it. I really think that really comes down to your upbringing. But
True.
you know, yeah.
True. Also. 'Cause sometimes it doesn't have to be in words. Sometimes it just has to be in action, like the way that you, the way that you
The
carry
tone,
carry
yeah,
yourself
the tone,
throughout when you're going through life.
Wait, Jesus Christ! We went on another
Yeah,
long
I was-
fucking tangent again.
I was
didn't we?
just gonna say that was a
Fuck.
very very. I think that was in this episode. That was the longest,
Yeah,
but
dude.
pretty interesting tangent. So anyway, going back to the whole Kelsey Merritt thing.
Oh my god, that's where we started.
We started.
Dude, I don't even remember. Dude, you know, like,
It's a
legit
good
for
thing
the
I'm
past,
here,
like,
man.
for the past 3 minutes, I was like, where the hell did we start again?
It's a good thing I'm here, guys. Okay, you better be thankful. So anyway, wait, like about the Kelsey Merritt thing. Basically, I think the three of us agree that Kelsey Merritt should be identified
It's hot.
as
Oh, sorry.
Okay, but that too. But like, basically, like Kelsey Merritt should be identified as Filipino if she herself identifies herself as Filipino. Like, okay, dude, going back to what we talked about in our last episode, this is totally different from when Inquirer.net talks about like that. Was that the French footballer who was like part Filipino?
that shit was great,
The
man.
goalie that's not
Dude,
that's like
he was fucking third string. He never even fucking smelled the field in fucking like the World Cup, dude. And they were like, "Woo, Filipino pride!"
yeah, dude, freaking like Inquirer was treating him like a freaking bayani or something.
Dude, that guy, I swear to God, never even smelled the grass of the field. You know? Like, he never even
Dude.
smelled the grass of the field of the World Cup. And they were like,
Dude.
yeah, Filipino pride, he's a hero.
Dude, you are mean, but anyway, you're mean. But anyway,
Did you
like,
ever see him on TV? You know?
but yeah, like, basically, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
Wait, France won, right? Okay, just making sure. I kind of forgot.
but yeah, I feel like if Kelsey Merritt is proud to be Filipino, and plus she was brought up here, right?
Mhm, yeah.
She was brought up here, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she did go to Ateneo.
Hell yeah.
She was brought up here, and she was born in Pampanga. She was brought up here. She's proud to be Filipino. I think that's enough. That's enough reason
Mhm.
for people to agree with her, or like be like support her.
Mm.
Yeah. So basically, do you guys? I think that concludes our last, maybe last topic.
Well, I think we could, I really think we could squeeze one more, but I'm not sure if I have any more topics in mind. Do you guys have any topics in mind?
do you have any topics in mind, Paolo?
No.
Sing to me, Paolo.
Sing to.
Well, guys, if you have any more topics in mind, leave it down in the comments below.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Sorry,
that
I've always wanted to say that.
You sell out, dude.
you sell out. No, but okay, if you guys really want to talk about something, like I think I've talked to Francis about this the start of the week. Or no, I talked to both of you about this in the start of the week. The tweet I got really triggered about. Wait, let me find it in our shared media on Facebook.
Well, okay. So basically, this is a section that we might cut out after Paulo said.
Sing to me, Paolo.
No. Paulo was not the one who said that. Okay, you said that. Okay.
Wait. So oh wait.
Oh, go on.
Okay, okay. So okay, wait. This tweet first that triggered me at the start of the week. Basically, the tweet goes: if you find a person attractive and then take it back after finding out that they are trans, you're transphobic. Period. What do you think about that? Why are you laughing? This is a serious
No,
matter.
The person who tweeted that. Dude, I'm running out of insults here, man. There are too many people to insult, dude. You know.
For me, like, okay, because I told you, right, that I was really mad at this tweet. But after further thought, I thought about the keyword here is attraction. Because, like, for me, I'm a straight guy, but you can find a transgender person attractive. Like, if you don't know they're transgender, like they're a guy and they're transgender, you can find them attractive.
Yeah, you can find them attractive, but but then you would stop finding them attractive if you found out they weren't of your sexual preference, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, you would still find them pretty, you know. Like, you would still find them, like, for example, if you're a girl, or like if you swing that way, you would still find them handsome. but would you still find them like
Dateable?
yeah,
That what
like
you're talking
okay,
about?
like attractive, yes, but not sexually attractive. You know, that's the line I'm gonna make here. Like yes, you would find them like attractive in a sense, but they're not sexually attractive, because you don't swing that way, diba?
Yeah. It's definitely about preference, I would say. And I think what really made me annoyed with this tweet is that the guy said in his tweet, or in his or this transgender person's tweet, um he was talking about attraction, right? He was talking about attraction. But when I was looking through the comments, he was also talking about dating, which is on my side, that's what I didn't agree about
No, no,
entirely.
na triggered ka ba? Three good.
I want a mic drop right now, but I'm scared we're gonna go into technical difficulties again, so I'm not gonna do it. But then just think about it
Yo,
in your
dude,
head.
that's my mic. Don't fucking.
The more reason to do it. So yeah, basically, well, are you still catching up to what we said? Oh, for any of you listeners, Paolo just came back from the CR. So, Pao, do you know what you're talking about?
Well, I think you're talking about the transsexual thing, wherein if you find out the person's transsexual, is it?
Wow, he actually remembered. I didn't remember this shit.
Yeah, I'm surprised you remember too. Yeah, basically like, if you find someone attractive and then not find them attractive after finding out that they are transgender, you're basically transphobic.
Okay, so basically, the main post is not the issue, because yes, you can still find someone attractive even after finding out. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But you won't find them sexually attractive, not dateable in that sense, you know. So basically, what you're saying is the comments are the issue, because what you're saying is,
No, basically what I'm saying is that the guy that tweeted it out is the issue, because in the comments he expressed that he's also talking about dating.
okay.
So I think when he wrote the tweet about attraction, of course in the back of his head he was also talking about dating, I would assume. Right? So yeah. Yeah, basically like I feel like that guy is crazy. And also being transphobic means that you have something against that kind of sexual orientation, or yeah.
Well, I just have
Which I don't.
I just have one question: is when did preference become like directly correlated to like a certain phobia of like when did preference become transphobia? Like like just because you don't prefer that person because you found out, let's say, that he was transsexual, like I would prefer that I did that person wasn't. That doesn't mean
Transphobic.
like how is causation doesn't equal correlation?
Oh my god, here we go. No. Wait, basically,
What?
that doesn't
Go,
make
go.
no sense. But basically, before you made
Saying that.
before you made that nonsense point, okay, before you made that nonsense point, basically what I'm gonna say is what you were saying there with the whole when did preference become transphobic. See, that's where the insanity begins, dude. Where you can no longer disagree with anything because you're gonna offend other people. You know,
Mhm.
You're
like
entangled in your own web that
oh
was
my god,
created.
yeah.
Mhm. So yeah, basically I think this guy definitely took it to an extreme. Like
Yeah, you know what, why can't we just put all
Preference?
these crazy people onto a ship and like put them on an island and let them just live together, you know? They'll all be happy together and we can all be happy without them.
that's true.
Diba?
Pao, you're going on the next boat. I'm just kidding, dude. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna start my own religion.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, I think that basically concludes that topic, right?
Yeah.
So do you guys have anything else you want to talk about, or?
Nah, dude, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
So yeah, basically reviewing everything we've said, the Ariana Grande thing, guys who are freaking blaming Ariana Grande for Mac Miller's death.
Freaking.
I'm not
Okay.
you,
Sorry.
okay?
My bad.
So yeah, freaking blaming Ariana Grande for Mac Miller's death. That's totally out of line, I would say. Wouldn't you say, pal?
Totally out of line.
So
incredibly out of line.
I have no more other adjective to add to that out of line thing. but yeah, basically you're out of line. Secondly, in-Barkada dating. Basically, what we concluded about that is that you have to be prepared to pay
be the
price.
bigger person and
Yeah,
to pay the price.
to pay the price for taking that gamble in the first place.
Yeah, and understand that it's more than a normal. Like if you were to go into a relationship with a random person, it's different. This is a different scale, and that's what you have to take into consideration.
Okay. So yeah, continuing on would be the live-in before marriage. We all agreed that logically speaking, it's way better to live in before marriage because basically free trial.
Unless you're one of those guys who are into those surprises kind of shit.
What? Oh yeah, unless you're one of those people who's into like surprises.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so like yeah.
Yeah.
So our last topic was Kelsey Merritt. Yeah. So basically we all agreed that she should be able to identify herself as Filipino and everyone should be able to support her. Because yeah, like if she can identify herself as Filipino and if she is proud, which she has claimed to be, then people should support her for representing the Philippines.
Filipino
in-
pride.
Filipino pride.
She's legally a Filipino, right? Like
No clue.
No
Never
clue.
went in that.
I actually do
in-depth
not
on the
know
research.
what her passport is, but
yeah. I don't think it's because she identifies as Filipino. I think it's
No, she
it's-
tweets in Tagalog on Twitter, so.
No, I
you know.
mean like I wouldn't say just because she identified in Filipino we should acknowledge as somebody as Filipino. But
No, but then, no,
More
that's not what we're trying to say. We're just saying that these woke people are in existential crisis by saying you can identify as whatever you want, but someone who identifies as being Filipino just because they don't look Filipino, even if she is part Filipino,
Yeah,
is suddenly like a rejection, you know.
yeah, and why don't we just throw that idea out? Why don't we just stick with are they Filipino or are they not Filipino? Like she's partly Filipino, and that's that, right? She's Filipino. She grew up in the Philippines.
True.
Why do we have to go more than that? Simple.
no, for me,
Easy.
yeah, true. But for me, I think it's more about that she's proud to be a Filipino. Like if you're proud to be Filipino, and especially because she has the background to support it,
That's another level.
then dude, just support her, you know? So yeah, basically, wow guys, that's basically pretty much everything we talked about, plus some detours.
And we still went
Good
beyond
discussion.
1 hour.
So yeah, actually guys, if you've listened to our past episode, I think it went on for around 2 hours. And basically now we wanted to kind of like limit it and was aiming to have it at an hour at an hour or under. But I'm still pretty proud of us for it's like what? It's an hour and 15 minutes. So it's not pretty bad. That's a 45-minute improvement. Am I right or am I right?
Let's ask our observer Jay for his opinion. Jay,
Oh yeah, we have our friend Adrian J. Uy in the room. Just listening to our conversation for a whole 1 hour and 17 minutes and 24 seconds. And I don't know how many milliseconds. So Jay, what do you have to say?
I'd say that was very insightful. That whole conversation.
I thought you were gonna say informative because that would be the worst word to say.
It gave me some thoughts on a couple of things like that transgender thing. You know? Yeah, that's a big issue today.
So yeah, hopefully you guys heard him since the mic was pretty far.
Wait, can you guys imagine if I forgot to start recording?
Dude, you remember our last episode? That was my biggest fear. But
Oh
I never
my
cut it at any point.
Okay.
But I think it's recording.
Are you
Hopefully.
Sure? Okay.
So yeah. So for our friends who are listening to this, or for anyone actually who have listened to our past podcast, I'm hoping that you can tell us, you can give us more suggestions on how we can improve, like,
And
how
things
we do our
can talk
podcast.
about on
Yeah,
the podcast.
like basically like give us topics and help us improve our podcast. I mean, generally help us improve our podcast by giving us topics and giving us suggestions on what we should do and what we should not do. So yeah,
That's it.
Wise guys.
is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, so guys, yeah, that pretty much concludes this episode of the Wise Guys, and I hope that you'll listen to. I mean, you'll be there. You'll be present for our next episode.
We don't do this live. When have to be present?
Go shut up. Okay, bye guys.